Hey friends, how's it going? Ash here. Welcome back to Gents. Hope that you're well. Is it safe now for us to officially say that it's spring? Every single year, I feel like, at least where I live, it's like spring arrives, everything starts to heat up, and you're like, finally. And then like a week later, it goes back to freezing and snows again, and every single flower that was starting to bloom dies. It's like, okay, we're doing that again.
My disappointment is immeasurable.
But I think that now we're far enough along that it's actually spring for real, at least in the northern hemisphere here. And so with that in mind, I wanted to share with you guys 10 of the absolute best spring fragrances for this year if you want to stand out. And these fragrances were chosen not by me, but by you. And I'm also gonna be giving away 2 different fragrances to you guys here today as well. One of them I think is absolutely perfect for spring and summer, just spot on. The other one, a bit of a hype beast, but it smells like chocolate. You can eat chocolate year round. I don't know if you want to smell like it year round, but whatever. That one I'm gonna give away too. Why not? All of these scents will be linked down below for your perusal. We're gonna kick it off with Micah Isham. Micah is ham, actually, that sounds better. Micah is ham. He says, "Hear me out," all caps. Or how would Jeremy say that? All caps. Hear me out, power! I'm sorry, I've been doing that lately in some videos. It's addictive. I know why he does it. Shout out Jeremy Fragrance. Anyway, Hear Me Out, Parfums de Marly Layton. I know, it's a winter scent, but if you wear it in slightly warmer weather, it really brings out the freshness of the apple and geranium. And it can give it a whole different character than it has in the winter. A little bit of a hot take maybe, but I don't necessarily disagree with what he's saying. A lot of times people get fragrances lumped in their heads into specific seasons or specific times, right? So they'll go, okay, this scent is for spring during the day, and that's it. Or this fragrance is for spring and fall in the office, and that's it. And a lot of times you will miss out on fragrances that might actually smell differently, open up differently, dry down differently in different weather, and sometimes actually smell better. Now, to be fair, when I think about spring fragrances, Layton is not a scent that pops into my mind. I don't go, it's starting to get green and warm outside. I better spray on that really warm, spicy fragrance with apple and geranium. But that does not mean that it doesn't work. And actually, it could make you stand out a bit more by wearing something like this during the spring when everybody else is busting out their freshies. And as we all know, Parfums de Marly Layton is a fragrance that people love. It is a big compliment puller, very easy to pull off because people do enjoy it so much. And so as long as you're not spraying this on really heavily and it's extremely hot outside and you're gonna be going somewhere outdoors around a lot of people where you're gonna be sweating and stuff, and the fragrance probably wouldn't smell good in that situation, as long as you're avoiding that, it can absolutely work and work extremely well. And as has been brought up before, if you're staying somewhere all day that's air conditioned, it really doesn't matter what you wear. Because if you're spending all your time around other people in 70-degree Fahrenheit weather because of air conditioning, or 68 or whatever, in centigrade, that's this much. So yeah, if you're in temperatures like that all day, who cares? Wear whatever. So Layton starting us off. The next one comes to us from NFVB16, who says, just recently acquired Parfums de Marly Percival, so it's safe to say I'll be wearing that this spring, but I'm not gonna feature that one here because that'd be 2 Parfums de Marlys in a row. They also say though, alongside Valentino Uomo Born in Roma Coral Fantasies. So those are the 2 they're gonna be wearing. I also wanna say that I'm not featuring Creed Green Irish Tweed here, though that one did get mentioned a bunch, and it is perfect for spring, really, really good. One of my favorites. And also mentioned was Parfums de Marly Sedley and Greenlee. So a whole lot of Parfums de Marly. Anyway, Coral Fantasy. This is a scent that I think you can wear realistically year-round. It has geranium, red apple, and tobacco as some of the main notes in the fragrance. A nice, sweet, fresh combination when you first spray it on. Solid performance. Another one that is a massive compliment puller. Very, very easy to wear. And great longevity to boot. So it's a fragrance that you don't have to reapply over and over and over again. And even at full retail, not that bad of a price. And Coral Fantasy is one that I can wholeheartedly agree with for spring, but as I said, also pretty much any season. All True, especially the lies, is up next. Sounds like it could be a name for like a shoegaze band, like an emo band kind of. All True, especially the lie. Or it could be like an album title too. Probably already is one. Anyway, back to reality here. He says, Dior Homme Sport 2021. I've been waiting for some sunshine for this one. It's beautiful, long lasting, and you can pull it off for any occasion and time other than the deep cold of winter. I mean, you could probably pull that off during winter, honestly. It's a fresh, spicy, woody fragrance, nice citrus pop in there. It maybe wouldn't cut through the cold as much, like if you're gonna be spending a lot of time outside in the cold, but I would imagine when it's really chilly out, if you spray that on, it's gonna have like a really brisk opening when you wear it out and about, and probably have a little more briskness as it dries down as well, which could smell really good. But for sure, if you're kind of pinpointing when would Dior Homme Sport be best, spring. That's what pops into my head. As he says, you can pull it off any occasion, and you really can. You can wear this casually, obviously very easily, but it has a nice elegance to it, a more sophisticated side. So if you were, you know, say gonna wear it to the office or a business meeting or something like that, it would work for that too. And Dior Homme Sport is actually one of my go-tos for spring, so this is one that I'm right there with. The next fragrance comes to us from Marco Garth, hopefully I said that correctly, who says, for me, spring equals Herrera 212 Men. After 25 years, it still works. Timeless. This fragrance comes to us from a time where they actually gave us note breakdowns. It's crazy. Something almost unimaginable nowadays. So it's got kind of a fresh spiciness to it. Warms up a little bit as it dries down. You have ginger in there, grapefruit, bergamot, lavender, green notes, sage, sandalwood, vetiver, and musk. The performance is solid. It lasts a good amount of time, projects quite well. And nowadays, 212 Men, just this one right here, is really an under the radar spring fragrance. At one point in time, pretty popular. I mean, you can still find it. It's not like it's discontinued, impossible to find or anything. It's just the peak of this fragrance is in the past, but it still works really, really well. It's got a nice green aspect to it, while also for being an easy to wear, you know, warm weather type of scent profile, having a little bit of a classiness to it. 212 Men, overlooked nowadays, but definitely worth checking out, especially if you can pick it up for a pretty good price. Roadblock 84, spelled RDBLK 84, says, as one of the older guys here, I love the barbershop style scents, and I love the note of vetiver. Me too. So here's a 2-for-1. Tom Ford, Beau de Jour, and Guerlain Vetiver Parfum. I'll be wearing these two the most during the early spring. That makes sense, especially with Vetiver Parfum right here. When it starts to heat up in late spring, maybe it would come across a little too heavy for a lot of people. And Beau de Jour, of course, a great choice as well. It's just that one does get mentioned more often, so I wanted to highlight this one. I love the entire lineup of vetiver from Guerlain, and I have a lot of fragrances in that line, including some of the discontinued flankers and a lot of earlier bottles from the lineup. This one, though, is the newest of the bunch. It came out last year in 2024. As I said, it can come across, you know, a little bit heavy. It does have like a smoky aspect to it. It also has licorice in here, along with juniper and tonka, a bit of coriander, of course the vetiver that it's named after. And it does have strong similarities to just straight up vetiver, the eau de toilette version from Guerlain. When you spray this one on, if you're familiar with that fragrance, you'll be like, oh, yeah, it kind of hits the same way when you first spray it. It just has more density, a little more heft, more body to it. Not quite as fresh, although it does still have some freshness from the aromatics in here. Really nice, dry, woodsy aspect to the scent as it dries down. Really classy, but definitely more mature. But to me, it smells great. Nicholas Exclusif is up next, who says, going with YSL myself. Of course, you can rock it year round, but a touch of warmth in the air really brings it to life. Not to mention, It really is a compliment bomb. My favorite dumb reach for spring. It is a fantastic dumb reach fragrance. It really is. And like he says, you can wear it year round. It is a compliment bomb. All that is true. It's got bergamot in there off the top. Really easy going opening that pretty much everybody's going to enjoy. Orange blossom as it dries down. Smooth, clean, a bit sweet, and that citrusy kind of aspect carries over from the opening. You know, that bergamot leading into the orange blossom. Amberfix is the main note in the base, so kind of an amber woodiness as it dries down, and it's just an everyday wear. It really is. And it's addictive. It's very addictive. It's one of those ones where, you know, you might spray it at first, smell it at first, and be like, yeah, that's okay, it's whatever. But then as you wear it, it becomes one of those ones where it just grows on you. Kind of like the Spider-Man symbiote, you know? It's got the whole black aesthetic going on. It eventually worms its way into your life. And then there you are every day, you know, with the myself. Can't get rid of it.
Oh, I have a parasite.
Sky Must Fall says, I'm a sucker for Versace Eau Fraiche in April. Very specific. Talking spring, I guess. April, that's spring, April. For a lot of people though, I guess that is kind of like the point where it's full on spring, right? So a lot of the time with this one, Versace Man Eau Fraiche, you would think of it as a summertime scent. You know, it's like got a little tropical vibe to it, that star fruit that's in there. You'd be like, oh, this is like a beach fragrance, vacation fragrance, something like that. But that freshness and that kind of aquatic feel that you get from this one, especially when you first spray it on, it is a little reminiscent of when everything starts to bloom again. Everything starts to turn green, it starts to heat up, and it is extremely appealing. It's a great selling fragrance, very popular, which kind of just goes to show you that you can pull this off pretty much whenever you want. So it doesn't matter whether it's the middle of summer, beginning of spring, this stuff smells great. Let me show you real quick the fragrances I'm going to be giving away, and we'll kind of sit those to the side and then do the last few scents here. So the first one is Odyssey Dubai Chocolat from Armaf. Odyssey chocolate. Dubai chocolate, yeah. So I got myself one of these, and it smells pretty good. It is very chocolatey, very gourmand, so you have to enjoy fragrances that are just unashamedly gourmand, like from opening it to dry down, but it's done really well. And then this is the one that I think is real good for spring and summer. It's called Yuzu, and it is by Fragrance World. So Fragrance World Yuzu, technically I guess it's Y-U-Z-U, but whatever, it's Yuzu. So this is one that has never really gotten a big amount of hype or anything, but it is very citrus forward. Hence the name. Quality is good, very fresh and bright, and would be really good for when it's hot outside. So I was gonna give away just this one, and I was like, well, I don't know, man, that's like really better for when it gets cool outside. So let me find something else that I've got that I can put in here with it. And that's what I came up with. Now, before we head to the next fragrance, guys, I want to remind you of the coupon codes, which are right here. The JOMASHOP codes, they change every quarter, so be aware of that. And they only work within the JOMASHOP app, but you can use those codes to save yourself some money. You're doing a little fragrance shopping on JOMASHOP. And then I also have codes for Max Aroma, the Perfume Box, Best Brands Perfumes, a bunch of other stores, and you can use those codes at those stores to save a percentage off your order as well. Next up, Skate Victor 98. Spring is Amouage Reflections Time to Shine. That is like the quintessential springtime fragrance from Amouage, isn't it? You know, it's got kind of that similar vibe to Le Male. I remember for the longest time, people would be like, the niche version of Le Male is Reflection Man. It's not exactly the same as Le Male, but it is kind of one of those things where if you like one, you'll probably like the other. Kind of same wheelhouse, same style. White florals done in a very elevated way. Just the right touch of sweetness, very fresh and elegant. Reflection Man, perfect choice for spring or really pretty much any time. After that one from McFarland, Will. He says, Mont Blanc Legend Eau de Parfum. It smells like spring morning to me with enough heft to get it through the day. It's my most complimented spring grab, and it's hard not to wear it when I get the positive attention. It's also cheap. Relatively. Depends on the person. I like how he throws that in there right at the end. He's like, well, I mean, it's cheap. I mean, but you know, if you don't think it's cheap, then you know, that's fair. But I see where he's coming from. And it is true, actually. You know, for some people, they'll say, oh, $75 fragrance, that's cheap. And for somebody else, $75 is not cheap at all. So that's true. Yeah, getting very introspective here. Because of McFarland _ Will. He makes valid points though, and it is true. When you have a fragrance that just works for you, it is pretty hard to shy away from that fragrance, right? Like if you have something that just absolutely crushes, then you have a propensity to keep going back to it. Or at least I know I do. Just like if you have a fragrance and every single time you wear it, people tell you you smell god awful, probably not gonna wear it as much. So Legend Eau de Parfum obviously has similarities to Legend Eau de Toilette, Abercrombie & Fitch Fierce, Parfums from Marley Percival, all of those in a similar style. This one has a little more punch to it compared to the Eau de Toilette. It is a little bit higher quality, ever so slightly more grown up compared to the EDT. Both of those though, I think do make really good spring fragrances. And Legend Eau de Parfum, for the price you can pick it up for from discounters, I think it's a really good deal. Last but not least, Inyo GM1XN. Inyo what? He says, to be honest, I would name my all-time favorite Chanel L'Homme Sport Eau Extreme or Edition Blanche. But when it comes to value for money, in my opinion, nothing beats Davidoff Cool Water Intense. Mandarin, grapefruit, coconut, amber, and a touch of creamy vanilla. I love it. So from discounters, about 35 bucks or so, pretty affordable, all things considered. And it does pack a pretty good punch. Nice longevity, lasts a long time, projection pretty good as well, especially for a cool water. And this is a little bit of a different vibe for spring. It still works during spring, don't get me wrong, and it has fresh aspects to it. You know, the citrus off the top, the coconut in there, like coconut water, coconut nectar, actually I think is what they officially called it. What coconut, whatever. It comes from the nut of cocoa, but it has a good dose of amber, kind of like a fizzy amber in there. And it has more of like a warm aspect to it, a sweet aspect to it. And as I said, a fizzy aspect to it, more so than you might expect from your more typical springtime fragrances that are very fresh, brisk, light, and green. So it could work as a really good transitional fragrance, you know, coming out of winter into spring or daytime into evening. And also it's another one that does fly under the radar. So that one wraps up our list chosen from you guys. Let's do the giveaway. So there are the fragrances, as you saw before. Just hit me with your favorite spring fragrance. It can be whatever, it does not matter. Like we got Leighton over here, whatever you like to wear in spring. Let me know what that is in the comments below. That works as your entry into the giveaway. Like the video, be subscribed to the channel. That's all you gotta do. Give me at least a couple weeks. I will pick a winner with Random Comment Picker. I'll post it up with winners of the videos I've been doing here recently with giveaways. And if you're the winner, just hit me up. I'll ship it out to you wherever you are in the world, wherever you find yourself. All right, that will do it, guys. Thank you so much for hanging with me. Stay safe out there. Take care of yourselves. I'll see you tomorrow with another fragrance video. See you guys later.